Skinny.
1 year ago, the Supersize versus Superskinny feeding clinic played host to 9 pairs of people desperate to change their disastrous diets. Tonight, we're revisiting 3 of those diet swappers to see if they've managed to call time on their bad habits. First up, food hater, Madassa Zafar.
In my mind, I get to a point where I just feel I'm just totally full and I just can't eat anymore.
King of the monster portions, James Collier.
My greatest fear is that I will have a heart attack and I won't see my children again.
And can't find time for food, Amy Walsh.
Just missing a meal, I don't even notice when I do that anymore.
The feeding clinic pushed its residents to their limits.
Right, I'm going to leave you because I can't watch you eat it. I'm too hungry. I had to walk out. If I looked here anymore, I just would have grabbed it and run away with it.
And a trip to America gave James a terrifying glimpse into his potential future.
My legs, I retain water.
Right.
And discoloration is for poor circulation.
It was disgusting.
But 1 year on, we'll see if they've managed to banish their bad eating habits for good.
There's no way coming this far that I'm going to allow myself to slip back.
One year ago, Supersize second-hand car dealer James and Superskinny Madassa checked into the feeding clinic to fix their unhealthy relationships with food.
I love food. I love the taste, I love the smell.
From gigantic greasy fry-ups to colossal curries, there's nothing James loves more than tucking into a series of supersized portions, sometimes getting through 4 platefuls in a sitting.
My portion size is a lot larger than what I would call a normal size. My wife does me normal size portions and I always walk up to her and I tell her to put more on. I always go for seconds. If there is no seconds available, I start to nick the food off my children's plate.
He will always go and take something off their plate. If I've not finished my dinner, he'll finish off mine as well. He does eat quite a bit.
And when he isn't stuffing himself silly, James is drowning himself in sugary squash.
On a normal day, I drink about 6 litres of fruit squash. I don't know what it is about it, I just love it.
So with his tank crammed full and his engine flooded, how does James feel about the state of his bodywork?
I feel really embarrassed about my size and weight. I hate my man boobs and I hate my belly. When I take the kids to the park now, after chasing them for a couple of minutes, I just get a big stitch, out of breath, and I can't breathe, have to stop and have a rest. And my greatest fear is that I will have a heart attack and I won't see my children again.
James, hi.
It's time to slam on the brakes and meet Dr. Christian Jessen for a full MOT. At a scale-shuddering 24 stone 6, James is almost 8.5 stone overweight.
Your cholesterol's pretty spectacular. 6.2 for a 32-year-old is pretty high.
Is it?
Yep, absolutely it is. I mean, in fact, all your blood fat levels are all deranged all over the place, which quite frankly, you know, given your size, doesn't surprise me. It's a warning sign saying the problems are being laid down now and they will hit you in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
James clearly needs help getting in touch with his inner skinny, so step forward, Madassa Zafar. At a third of James's weight, Madassa's worried himself to a frazzle over his super slimline frame.
When I think about comparing myself to other people, my age, my height, I don't believe it's the norm. I don't feel normal.
But with his erratic eating habits, it's little wonder Madassa falls short of his ideal size.
I do have a tendency to leave food. In my mind, I get to a point where I just feel I'm just totally full and I just can't eat anymore, so that is when I just have to just literally stop.
And that's not all.
If I'm stressed, food is the last thing I actually think about, just because I just don't feel hungry.
Despite skipping meals and rarely finishing his dinner, Madassa remains mystified by the source of his slenderness.
Constantly ask yourself why you can't do it, why can't you put weight on? It really gets you angry.
At 5'9" and a super skinny 8 stone 3, Madassa is almost 2 stone beneath his healthy weight of 9 stone 11.
You know, you're definitely under where you should be, but tell me why this is.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I've always been kind of like the same sort of weight, same sort of build. I can't really think anything specifically that's actually affecting it.
Might it be that you don't eat very much, maybe? Do you think, or do you not agree with that?
My brain tells me I eat enough.
So for the next 5 days, he and James will be swapping diets to encourage James to eat less while proving to Madassa he can eat more. But before finding out what they'll be eating, it's time for Superskinny to meet Supersize.
There you go, the ribs and everything. I've seen my ribs for years. There's nothing to him, so it doesn't look like he ever eats.
Nothing to compare really, if you put mine two together.
Yeah.
Makes what your wrist. He's really overweight, overeating, hungry pig. Hippo.
Now they've sized each other up, it's time to find out exactly how they've eaten themselves to opposite extremes.
You, Madassa, let's have a look at the sort of breakfast you eat. Here we go. You don't eat a lot, do you?
Is that 1 week's worth?
That is now, yeah.
Okay, I probably eat that in a day, probably.
Lunch and dinner are equally puny. Madassa ate just small portions of chicken curry, chips and beans, and battered fish.
How do you feel looking at that and thinking about your weight and your diet?
Well, I think if, I don't know, the average person like that, you'd put some weight on. Rice is healthy for you, a bit of fatty food with the chips. So I think it's like balanced out, really.
OK, just hold on a minute. Why are you here?
Because I want to put weight on.
So defending your diet now is not going to cut the mustard with me. There's something wrong with this, isn't there?
Indeed there is. At 1,300 calories a day, Madassa's minuscule portions add up to the recommended intake for a 3-year-old boy.
So not only is it really under in the amount of calories it should contain, but also actually it's under in every vitamin and mineral and phytonutrient that you should be getting. So is this a healthy diet? Is this a balanced diet? No, it's definitely not.
I did actually think mine was average, but obviously being told it's well under is something that hasn't actually sunk in yet.
James?
Yeah.
Shall we have a look at yours?
No.
No? Well, we're going to anyway. Breakfast? So, cereal with blueberries and crumpets. Oh, that's quite different. A huge fry-up with everything. Let's have a look and move on to lunches. OK, now this is quite phenomenal. Probably half of one of those baguettes is a kind of normal-sized sandwich for one guy.
What, one?
Half of one.
Half of one.
And it doesn't stop there. There's also pasta salad and roast beef with all the trimmings.
Do you think that you're slightly not seeing what's actually there?
I would say, yes, a little bit too much, but not majorly over.
Like Madassa, it seems James is living on planet denial. And his colossal dinners are still to come.
Well, I think that's just about taken us up to the top of the tube, really, hasn't it? Yeah, huge, huge, huge quantity. What do you tend to drink?
Fruit squash.
Fruit squash, let's put it in.
The 6 litres of squash James drinks every day pack a 1,500 calorie punch. By cutting the sugary drinks from his diet, James would lose 3 pounds a week.
Very shocked. No way did I think I'd be able to fill it up.
You're averaging about 10,000 calories a day.
That's 8 Madassas. And on that bombshell, it's time to face the first meal swap, dinner. It's half a 9-inch pizza for James, while for Madassa, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. No, it's a whopping 4 family-sized platefuls of Thai buffet.
This is just like proper excessive.
While Madassa's small portions will hopefully show James he can survive on far less, James's 4 mega platefuls should prove to Madassa he can eat a lot more. In theory.
It's mad.
My kids would eat bigger than that.
Serious.
They're 3 and 4 years old.
With their attitudes to food at polar opposites, it's time for James and Madassa to discuss the one thing they have in common.
I'm here because I believe there is a reason why I'm underweight, but I don't necessarily believe that it's my food quantities that's causing me that. I don't honestly believe that.
Did you not feel if you ate more food you'd put on any weight?
Probably not.
I'm the same as you. I don't see my eating problem as the reason why I'm that big.
denial all round again then, and with James's half pizza demolished, while Madassa has barely touched his takeaway, it's obvious these two need a big wake-up call. Coming up, James hits boiling point.
Watching him play with the food, I felt like just picking the fork up for him and shoving it down his throat.
And 1 year on, will our diet swappers manage to fight off their frightful eating habits?
It's like we've gone from 0 to 100. That's how much of a drastic change it feels to me.
Food addict James and mini meal muncher Madassa have checked into the feeding clinic to conquer their battles with food. With both in absolute denial about the amount they eat and the effect this has on them, James and Madassa gear up for their first full day of diet swapping.
Just woke up feeling really hungry, stomach was growling all night. I got up a few times thinking about food. But yeah, just can't wait till breakfast now.
I mean, last night I was really, really bloated. Actually, surprised, I think I might be feeling more hungry than normal.
Let's hope so, Madassa. You're about to face one of James's stomach-stretching fry-ups.
Do you think you get through all that?
Well, I can give it a go.
James is about to learn that patience is a virtue.
I'm missing something.
Unfortunately, it's one of them days where I don't have any breakfast.
Plenty of time to watch Madassa eating his then, James.
This is hurting me now, watching you eat that. I don't want to look. Watching him play with the food, I felt like just picking the fork up for him and shoving it down his throat and just telling him to eat. I feel really jealous, to be honest with you.
And if James has already suffered a touch of the green-eyed monster, this is where Madassa might start to feel a bit green around the gills.
It's what I normally have for a mid-morning snack.
This is not a snack.
Maybe not for you, Madassa, but the switch from colossal portions to empty plates has sent James's blood sugar plummeting, along with his patience.
Right, I'm going to leave you, because I can't watch you eat it. I'm too hungry.
Yeah, but don't you think we should have a bit more willpower to, like, stick it out a bit longer?
Sorry, but I had to walk out because I couldn't look at the food no more. If I looked at it anymore, I just would have grabbed it and run away with it.
My chances of finishing this are zero. To even consider this as a snack, I just wouldn't. It's just way too much. I just feel pissed off right now, mega, because trying to push yourself with something that you can call a snack is something what you try, but not by, like, putting another main meal in front of somebody like that. It's not right. You can only eat so much. That's just pure greed.
For the diet swap to work, both partners need to learn from watching someone else follow their eating regime. James's portions might have driven Madassa to tears, but by walking away, James shows a serious lack of commitment. To keep him on course, Dr. Christian wants to give him a glimpse of the future if he doesn't change.
I'm Mike. I'm 32 stone. I'm 54 years old. I started overeating when I was a child. As being big myself, for the amount of weight I carry, in the bathroom, I soap up. I put all the soap on my body using liquid soap while I'm still sitting on the toilet, rather than have to stand longer. I would love to be able to take a bath, but I'd probably have to call somebody for help to get out of the bathtub. I finally received the gastric bypass in May of 2006, and I lost almost 300 pounds. But then I started gaining weight again because I went back to my old eating habits. I'm cheating myself. I'm sending myself to an early grave. James, if you want to make a difference in your life and your family's life, make a difference now.
Very shocking. So I come at the right time then, really.
So I want to send you off to America to go and see him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And spend some time with him and meet him and see how disabled he is by his weight.
It's lunchtime, and after receiving his poignant message from America, James is ready to face his first meal of the day. A small plate of chicken biryani.
Well, glad to see that you're eating something.
But as Madassa tucks into his supersized serving of fried chicken, coleslaw and rice, the earlier tensions come flooding back.
You really, really need to understand the fact that your portions are not right. They are not even slightly out of control, they are way out of control.
I feel exactly the same way about you, as in, you know, I just had to walk away earlier because I couldn't look at the food because I was so hungry, felt physically ill. So if that's how I feel, then surely you must feel the same way through the day by not eating enough food.
I think that's a no, James.
Come on in, Madassa.
To drive home the message of a healthy diet, Dr. Christian shows Madassa some of the conditions he and all undereaters risk developing if they deny their bodies essential nutrients.
With you, it's not just about weight. With the amounts that you're eating, you're not actually getting enough of virtually all of the important minerals and nutrients that you need, and long-term, that can lead to problems. This is all about fibre. If you don't have enough fibre, this is one of the conditions that you can develop, and this is called diverticulitis. And these are little hernia through the muscular wall of the gut, and you can imagine food gets stuck in those, and it gets infected, and it gets extremely agonisingly painful, and it bleeds. This slightly different picture.
Great stuff on somebody's face.
It's really quite horrible, isn't it? Yeah. This is a condition called seborrheic dermatitis, and it's a sort of build-up of skin flakes plus greases and oils that form these really not very nice white plaque. One of the causes of this is a deficiency in a vitamin called riboflavin, vitamin B2, and you find that in cereals, and milk, and animal products. If you eat very small quantities, if you're only getting 1,300 calories a day, you are deficient in this.
It's actually shocking, really. I thought it was just a simple factor of being underweight. It's definitely encouraging me to do something about it now, than leave it till later.
So how will the duo fare at dinner? For James, it's another empty plate.
I don't know how you survive on it. Really don't.
Madassa seems, finally, to be taking Dr. Christian's advice as he tackles his extra-large doner kebab.
I think what's actually surprised me today about myself would be the way I think about food and about the amount that I can actually consume. Putting it down to that, I've never really had that push.
That little bit extra.
Yeah, go a bit extra, you know what I mean? It'll do you good, that type of thing. You're always told never to eat more than what your body needs because it's just greed.
But you're under-eating and you're not getting enough calories a day, hence being underweight. Same as me, I'm eating 5,000, 6,000 calories too much per day, hence why I'm overweight.
Yeah, I'm totally done now. Totally full. Don't look it. Don't look it. It feels it. Thank you, thank you.
It seems our diet disasters have finally seen the light. Having reached the end of their stay in the feeding clinic, James and Madassa will be leaving with 12-week tailor-made healthy eating plans.
Being here for this week has flicked a switch in my head. You know, I know that my body can go without food now. If I miss a meal, I don't have to double up on the next meal.
There's been a roller coaster of emotions involved. If I've come through so far, I can't see myself backing out. I really want to carry on to see whether it makes a difference or not. This is it.
That's it, week over. Lovely to meet you.
You too, matey. Hope it goes well for you.
But before James and Madassa are reunited for their final weigh-in, Dr. Christian has flown James out to Miami to meet 32-stone Mike to see for himself the future he faces if he doesn't stop overeating.
The reason I'm here is to meet Mike, look at him and think I do not want to look in the mirror and see myself like that. And that is it.
Hi.
Hi, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing? Welcome to America.
Thank you.
Mike spends most of his days sat down in his reinforced chair. His legs have paid a terrible price in struggling to support his weight.
My legs, I retain water.
Right.
And discoloration is for poor circulation. And I've had times the skin opens up and starts oozing. It smells like hell. In the morning, my toes they look pretty good now, but sometimes they're like dark purple from poor circulation.
Right. Looking at his toes, there was green, purple, yeah, all sort of colours all over his toes. It was disgusting.
And And his legs aren't Mike's only restriction. Obesity-related incontinence has also wrecked his quality of life.
One of the things that is probably a bad habit, but I have to do is, because my belly's so big and it overhangs, I have trouble standing up and going to the bathroom. So I have cups that I'm alone, so it's not embarrassing to just drop my drawers here and tinkle in the cup and pour it out.
In the kitchen?
I do it here in the kitchen and then in the bathroom too. And in fact, I have people that won't even come in the house anymore because they say they can smell that. It's
really unhygienic, isn't it?
These are just habits that when you get past a certain weight, that you have to realize you have to accommodate yourself to make your life easier.
And Mike's struggles with hygiene don't end there.
Because of the body problems, body waste and all, it just gets stained after a while. In the last 20 years, this is like the 10th bed I've had.
Really? You go through 2 beds?
I go through beds a lot.
It's a horrible way to live, and I could never see myself living like that.
You see all the difficulties, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I'm so determined not to end up like him, and I need to sort my diet out now. I know that.
So a few months later, has James managed to shift any weight, and has Madassa put any on? They're back to find out.
I'm very nervous about finding out my weight today. I know that I've lost weight. I've had to buy a new belt, new clothes, jeans, you know, so anxious to find out now.
James, welcome back. So, have things now changed?
The biggest thing is the portion sizes that have changed.
Would you say things are improving now?
I take the children out to the beach every day, have a walk with them. I go to the gym every day now as well.
And what about serial meal skipper Madassa?
So tell me what's different now about your diet. What are you eating that you weren't before?
Straight away, the snacking bit, because I never used to snack before, slowly started to increase my meal portions.
I suppose the key question, really, though, is how do you feel now? Do you feel different? Do you feel better?
Definitely. I think compared to before, I feel more hyper.
Good, right.
Generally, I feel more healthier as well. I feel good about myself.
Before Dr. Christian reveals their results, it's time for Madassa and James to meet again.
Looking well?
Yeah.
Looking well. Putting a bit of weight on.
That's brilliant. That's a good start. I reckon you lost a bit.
I hope I have.
Well, guys, what can I say to you both? The thing that strikes me most about you two, actually, is not necessarily any weight changes, is that you both look much healthier. Your sort of skin looks better and you look brighter. So, Matt, I'm going to put you out of your misery straight away and tell you, you've put on a whopping 8 pounds. Are you pleased with that?
I'm well impressed with that, yeah.
So that was a fantastic effort. James, you've got a lot to live up to now, hey? No pressure? There's a reason why your trousers are slipping, and that is because you have lost 4 inches around your middle and 1 stone 8 pounds in weight in total. Pleased?
Very pleased.
You should be.
Yeah.
You absolutely should be.
I'm really happy about the weight. I didn't think it was going to be as much. I thought I probably would have lost about half a stone. It's definitely made it all worth it.
Hearing how much I have actually gained is actually, I'm actually impressed with myself. There's no way coming this far that I'm going to allow myself to slip back.
Coming up, we'll be catching up with Madassa and James to see if they've managed to stick to their diet plans 1 year on.
Life's so good at the moment. I'd never go back to the way I was.
And we revisit Superskinny Amy, who weighed just 7 stone 10 when she checked into the feeding clinic.
When I look in the mirror, I always feel the same way, you know, just a little girl.
One year ago, Supersize James and Superskinny Madassa checked into the feeding clinic, and now it's time to see if they've managed to ditch their disastrous diets for good. Since leaving the clinic, Superskinny Madassa's a changed man.
I feel really good within myself. I can't believe how little I used to actually eat. My appetite has grown drastically. I'll have a large breakfast. A couple of hours in, I'm starving. So I have to kind of like have additional snacks. And then by the time it comes to lunchtime, I'm ready for it. And then a few hours in, I can't wait to get home because I'm actually feeling starving. It's like sometimes I feel my stomach's in a knot.
Only a year ago, Madassa was eating a minuscule 1,300 calories a day, the equivalent of a 3-year-old child's diet. Once disinterested in food, now it's become a focus.
Even with milk, I can't lie, just go for the semi-skimmed, but now I tend to like make it a focus just to go for the full-fat milk as well. The fridge is a lot more fuller now. On a daily basis, I think, what do I want to eat? I look forward to cooking my meals. With my portion sizes, they've really drastically increased. I mean, looking back at it now, in the evenings, I would probably eat child-sized portion. I would easily say that has tripled. So it's a big improvement.
And all this extra food is paying off, with Madassa now weighing in at a much healthier 9 stone 3, almost a whole stone heavier than he was at the start.
It's a big change from where I was to where I am now. I do want to put on maybe a stone and a half more. So that's my next goal, but I'm on the right path. I feel really good within myself. I feel more alive than what I was before. It's like gone from 0 to 100. That's how much of a drastic change it feels to me.
And Supersize James has changed more than just his attitude towards food.
I knew I had to turn things around for myself and my family. I just wanted a better life for all of us. So we moved out of London, moved down to the South Coast.
In fact, James and his wife now run a hotel in Bognor Regis.
Fish and chips.
Which has brought its own challenges.
Burger and chips. Curry and chips. Working in the hotel, there's a lot of temptation there, and I did start eating big portions, and I didn't want to go that way again.
But despite all of this, James has kept up the healthy eating.
I've cut my portion size down to a normal person size now. I actually eat the same size food as my wife. I've cut out all fatty foods now. I eat very high protein foods, and I feel a lot better for it. I've actually learnt that it does take time for my stomach to send a signal to my brain to say that I'm full.
And all of this healthy eating has given James a new lust for life.
My energy levels have gone through the roof. I go to the gym 4 times a week now. I go play golf, and I don't feel tired all the time like I used to. The biggest change I've seen is my waist. It's gone from a 52-inch down to a 40-inch. I'm so proud of myself. Life's so good at the moment. I'd never go back to the way I was.
Their time in the feeding clinic forced James and Madassa to change their ways for good. But what about super skinny vegetarian Amy Walsh? This student juggles a packed college course with a part-time job.
I lead quite a busy lifestyle. Just missing a meal, I don't even notice when I do that anymore. Convenience is more important than what I'm eating, I guess. So it's very, very easy for me to just grab a pizza out of the fridge and whack it in the oven.
Amy's failure to understand that eating regularly is essential has become a concern to her family.
I see her sometimes and she's shaking and she's like, no, I'm fine. It's like, please, Amy, can you eat something? She's like, no, I'm fine, I'll be fine. So it's horrible to even look at Amy sometimes because she's so thin, and I can't stand her looking like that anymore because I feel like it's hurting her.
Amy is topping up the energy she's not getting from her tiny diet by always having a bottle of something fizzy to hand.
I find that unless I have a glass of cola, I don't have any energy for the day. A lot of the time I am replacing my meals with bottles of cola.
Amy knows where she's going wrong and hates the effect it's had on her body.
When I look in the mirror, I feel my body hasn't developed the way it should have, and I always feel the same way, you know, just a little girl.
Well, if anyone can help Amy make the right changes, it's Dr. Christian. Time to check into the feeding clinic.
Your diet is pretty spectacularly limited, isn't it?
Yeah,
tell me what's going
definitely. I'm quite a fussy eater, I must say, and pretty much since I was a very little girl, I've been very particular about what I like to eat and what I don't like to eat.
You think that was the start, then, of...
Definitely the start of my downfall.
Okay.
And at 15, a tragic loss triggered a dramatic downward spiral in Amy's weight.
My dad passed away after being in hospital for 4 months. And that was a really, really traumatic time for me. And throughout this time, I was dropping weight. And then I had this concoction in my head that if I was smaller than him, then he wouldn't be so ashamed of himself, and he'd be better. When my dad passed away, I realised that everything that I'd done was pointless, more than pointless. I'd completely destroyed myself over an irrational thought that didn't make any sense.
The fact Amy knows what's prompted her not to eat properly is a strong start. Joining Amy in the feeding clinic is another Amy, Supersize Amy Green. At 5'8", a healthy weight for her would be between 9.5 and 12 stone. She actually weighs in at a staggering 20 stone, 8 pounds.
How do you feel about your weight now?
Oh, I think it's disgusting. I hate how much I weigh.
And therefore, why haven't you changed anything?
I've tried. It's a really bad habit that I can't break.
In the tale of two Amys, they may share the same name, but they certainly don't share the same diets. It's time Superskinny met Supersize.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Amy.
So am I.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh my God, how little are you? 54 around the waist I was.
Oh, I'm 24 around mine.
God.
Yeah. Having Amy tell me her measurements and hearing that they were a lot of the time double the size of mine made me think, gosh, is Amy, two people, or am I half a person,
Now that the two Amys have met, it's time for them to come face to face with what they eat and to see what lies ahead in their diet swap.
So, Amy, we're going to start with you. I'm going to start with breakfast. What on earth is that?
That is a chocolate bar.
That is a chocolate bar. Any other breakfast to come?
That is all my breakfast.
Do you think it gets a bit better at lunchtime? Cereal?
That's more cereal.
So that's the breakfast that you should have had?
Yeah.
We've done all of breakfasts and we've done all of lunches for an entire week. Because this lady's a vegetarian. Perhaps dinner time is a great festival of fresh fruit and vegetables, is it? A slice of pizza. A slice of pizza.
And not forgetting Amy's favourite fizzy drinks.
You get through an average of about 2 litres of cola a day. Nothing nutritious, nothing that will make you grow, heal, repair. Pitiful, isn't it?
It really is.
An active teenager, Amy should be consuming around 2,000 calories a day, but her restrictive diet only contains an average 1,700 calories. 500 of those come from her love of fizzy diet drinks.
So, Amy, your turn. Are you ready for this? Breakfast for you first. I thought I said breakfast.
I eat leftovers from the night before a lot of the time for breakfast.
That's more than I would buy if I was going to a takeaway.
Good, tell her, don't tell me, tell her.
Not only does Amy indulge in takeaways for breakfast, but also for lunch and for dinner.
That looks like Chinese takeaway.
That is.
Yeah, drinks?
I drink a lot of cola. It's disgusting.
You both are complete cola junkies. There is absolutely no point in me swapping you drink for drink, is there? I'm putting down a rule right now. You're not going to have any cola this week. It's out of the swap. You are using it as a substitute for proper food, and that's got to stop. And you are using it as an emotional crutch.
It's the Amy's first meal of the week, and our skinny, veggie-dodging vegetarian is about to have a Chinese takeaway, Supersize style. And for Supersize Amy, it's a single slice of pizza.
This is probably the biggest meal I have ever had in my life.
How you feeling? Honestly?
Honestly, I'm feeling quite sick. I think I probably should call it a day. Oh. It was just far too big, the portion size. I can't understand how Amy can eat this much without getting full.
Well, be prepared for what's coming up for breakfast, Amy. A plate of déjà vu. That's feeding clinic lingo for...
Leftover Chinese.
And from takeaway to taken away. As for Supersizer Amy, breakfast is absolutely nothing.
Oh, gosh. That's beyond full.
Amy may be struggling with the amount of food on her plate, but she's already starting to feel the benefits of replacing her liquid supplements with food.
I feel I have quite a lot of energy, surprisingly, because I usually get all my energy from my cola, and having my cola taken away from me, I did think that I was going to be very lethargic and tired and exhausted, but I'm feeling okay.
But is she ready to attack yet another Supersize fast food meal? And for Supersize Amy, yet more pizza. And Amy's taken to speed eating.
If I didn't eat like that, then I would have left more on my plate because with every bite I was filling up a little bit more and a little bit more. So I felt I had to just get in as much as I possibly could. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to finish half of what I did.
By pushing herself to keep eating today, Amy realises she could eat more at home and finally turn her life around when she leaves the clinic.
I would never do this at home. That makes me really sad. I would never pushed myself this much. Part of me did think that I wouldn't be able to pick up my appetite because of this, these thoughts in my head telling me you're full now. And now I've pushed past it, and every meal I've had today, it's made me think, yeah, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to be able to eat my meals, and I may not even necessarily have to push myself. I think that it might just come naturally.
You done?
Definitely more than done.
Amy is starting to see the light, but Dr. Christian also wants her to understand the health implications of her current dire diet.
What's wrong with that bottom?
It looks very dry, cracked, sore, not very comfortable to sit on.
That is an angry spotty botty, isn't it, really? The one I want to focus on, though, is iron. And iron deficiency will lead to anemia. Anemia is when you don't have enough oxygen carrying capacity in your blood and you become very lethargic and tired and pale. This is a picture of eczema, which is extremely itchy, and you can see whoever this is has been really scratching away.
Iron is not only found in meat. Vegetarian Amy could find the nutrition she needs in dried fruit, dark green veg, and even breakfast cereals, which have been fortified with iron by manufacturers.
Any thoughts?
I don't want a bottom like that.
Nobody would want a bottom like that. Right, let's crack on, pardon the pun. Let's look over here. This is the next one, and I think probably the most horrific one for you here. Do you know what on earth you're looking at there?
Maybe bowel area.
Absolutely right. Large intestine, colon. That's a whacking great tumour that's virtually blocking that bowel. Quite possibly that's an inoperable tumour. In other words, not much you can do about it. It's serious. One of the causes of bowel cancer is fibre. Lack of fibre in your diet leads to sort of constipation and stodgy poos that spend a long time sitting around in there, causing tumours. I don't think I have ever met a vegetarian who is low in fibre. And not just low, you're only getting a third of the fibre that you should. So risk of bowel cancer in you living on your pizza diet is significant.
That was really shocking, I must say. And knowing that my poor diet could lead me in exactly the same direction, yeah, it was very terrifying.
Coming up, 1 year on, we'll see if Superskinny Amy has managed to skip out skipping meals.
I used to look in the mirror and want to smash it. Now I cannot believe what's looking back at me.
Last year, Superskinny Amy Walsh and Supersizer Amy Green swapped diets to try to fix their dire eating habits. It's the final meal, and has Superskinny Amy finally learnt the error of her ways?
You've been apologising for the sort of portions you've been giving me. I should actually just be saying thank you, because just by this sheer volume of food, it's given me my appetite back again. And that's something I haven't had in years. Being a vegetarian, I should be eating more vegetables, and I think it's absolutely... I do feel ridiculous calling myself a vegetarian and not eating any vegetables.
Yeah. The final meal is a success.
I'm feeling really full after my meal, but it's completely different to how I felt at the beginning of the week. Now I'm feeling full but satisfied.
It's time for both Amys to return home armed with tailor-made diet plans given to them by Dr. Christian, and the knowledge that their future now lies firmly in their own hands.
It's opened new doors for me. It showed me that there's so many different foods out there that I'm really going to enjoy. I really never thought that I could do it, and to actually see that I can, it's just definitely the biggest accomplishment of my life.
It's been a few months since the girls left the feeding clinic, and it's time to find out if things have started to change for the better.
At the beginning, I was putting on weight quite rapidly, and then I found that it started to slow down, so I'm really quite nervous about seeing what my weight is, but I'm really, really excited.
Amy, it's lovely to see you again. Things seem to have changed for you by the look of you.
Just ever since I left the house, my appetite has just gone through the roof. As for the fruits and vegetables, I try my hardest to eat my 5 a day. Sometimes I don't quite make it, but I'll be at least eating 3 or 4, which is better than what I was doing.
And so, you know, this concept of food as fuel, are you getting the hang of that side of things now too and feeling the effects of that?
I'm absolutely feeling the effects. I'm so full of energy, it's unbelievable.
And Amy and Amy are reunited.
How are you? Oh, I'm okay. Oh, you look absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, you look really good and healthy.
Like you, how's it been avoiding those fast foods?
Easy, that has gone, and so's the cola. I've had none at all.
Nor have I.
I interrupt you then. But we can clearly see that whatever it is that you've done has made a big difference to your whole, you know, being, your outlook on life, your happiness. But has it made a big difference to your weight? You've lost 1.5 stones.
That's really good. I'm really pleased.
It's more than really good. It's fantastic. Right, and you, Amy, then, you've put it on just short of 0.5 stone, 6 pounds, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's incredible.
That is amazing. I'm actually shocked, lost for words.
I'm proud of you both. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. It's definitely made all the hard work that I've been doing over the past 3 months worthwhile. I think the only way is up from now on.
One year on, how has student Amy fared? 12 months ago, she survived on a diet of 1,700 calories a day, leaving her weighing in at just 7 stone 10. Has she managed to finally make food a priority?
Food is a bigger part of my day. I feel that now my diet is more balanced. My life seems a lot more balanced.
Amy used to survive on an empty stomach, but now things couldn't be more different.
Actually getting my 3 meals a day has kind of pushed my appetite, so I do feel a lot hungrier. Now I'm always getting a nice big breakfast, which kind of kickstarts the day. One thing I don't miss from my old diet is the cola. I'm glad that it's out of my life now. I feel a lot better for it.
Amy's ditched the convenience foods too, and has finally introduced variety to her diet.
Dr. Christian said he found it quite funny that I was a vegetarian who didn't like vegetables. Now I've left the feeding clinic, I've kind of taken that on board, and I eat my 5 a day, not only necessarily with fruit, but I also try and mix it up a little with my dinners, making sure I'm getting a good amount of veg.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm getting better at my cooking. My friends and family are really, really proud of me. They're so happy with just the changes that I've made and commenting on my appearance and saying just how much better and healthier that I'm looking.
Getting used to the Amy who didn't eat was horrible. Now we have this new Amy who eats, is happy, bubbly and bouncing around the place. It's nice to have her back.
Since leaving the feeding clinic, Amy has gained a whacking 12 pounds and a passion for clothes.
Now my bank balance has taken a bit of a dive because I can't stay out of the shops. I used to look in the mirror and want to smash it. I just wasn't happy at all, and now I feel happy. I cannot believe what's looking back at me. There's never a thought in my mind that I might become the person that I was before. I think it was completely wrong that I would treat my body in that way. I don't think there's any way I could slip back into my old habits.
If you're over or underweight and would like to appear in the next series of Supersize vs Superskinny, log on to channel4.com/takepart for an application form.
Ordinary people trying new things next tonight, things that could just change their lives, like tonight's ability to hold your breath. Hidden talent on the way.